Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the bonus video for Let's Play Bare Knuckle 3. I'm your host, Devilish. I'm not gonna go too far. Yeah, looks like we're just gonna have to bide our time. Wait a minute. Oh, man. Jeez, I haven't even looked in all these doors. I didn't even know this was here. Wow. Here's hoping my TV doesn't short again. Wow, I'm amazed, guys. I mean, Akuma. The newest cameo in the Tekken series. And he's not just a guest fighter on the sidelines. He actually figures into the storyline. And I don't think anything of the sort's ever been done before. Because up until now, like in the Smash Brothers in Brawl, each character, including the guest fighters, got their own little piece of the story. But it wasn't part of an ongoing, continuous narrative. It was a child's fantasy brought to life. I mean, I know everybody's done that at least once. You gather up all your action figures, your toys or whatever, whether it be from one franchise or several, and then just weave a story around them. And that's basically what the Smash Brothers series is. But this, even if it is in just a small way, exactly how large or how small remains to be seen, but Kasumi Mishima, Heihachi's wife, Kazuya's mother, Jin's grandmother, basically orders Akuma to wipe out the entire Mishima clan, to rid the world of their evil influence. And exactly how that pans out? Well, Harada did say that this game was supposed to be the end of the Mishima storyline. Possibly the end of the family. How weird. Seeing as how the story began in the early 90s with the original Tekken, back when Kazuya was thought as a hero, basically an XP of Ryu, even right down to the way he was dressed. And then it's not until later that you realize, he's not nearly the Boy Scout that Ryu is. I think that's very exciting. Now, from a gameplay perspective, I'm not so sure. Because, I mean, Street Fighter and Tekken, they're both fighting games, but they play differently. Street Fighter's more about button presses, combining attacks, special moves, using controlled inputs, and strength is based on whether the attacks are quick or strong, which could affect distance, height, or speed. Being able to crouch under attacks or jump over them. The air game, being able to attack from above. And Tekken is more about timing your attacks, flowing them together, sidestepping, attacking from the side. The mechanics are completely different, and I don't see how Akuma would be able to fit in a game like that. Granted, I have been wrong before. I've seen crazier crossovers. I mean, even playing as Link in Soul Calibur 2 was mind-blowing to me. But even though he didn't really fit in the story, seeing as how he was a swordsman, it just felt right. But Akuma could potentially be the first non-boss canonical character, not including Jinpachi or Gon, to actually be able to attack regularly and quickly from a distance. And how that'll mesh with the rest of the game, I really don't know. But I am curious to see what happens. And also, as an aside, I happen to prefer the name Goki to the American renaming of Akuma. Not because I'm a purist or a Japanophile, but because I think it suits the character better. Because, contrary to his American name, he's not a demon. He does have a moral code. He'll only fight against those he deems to be worthy challengers, and he'll only kill those he believes capable of killing him as well. If they're not a threat to him, he'll leave them alone. And besides, his brother Goken fits better. One the Great Spirit, the other the Great Fist. It fits together better. Oh, watch out for the fragments. The P-Series defense drones are pain in an enclosed space like this. But that makes me wonder what they're going to do with Street Fighter V in preparation for Tekken Cross Street Fighter, if it ever comes out. Because I've purchased Tekken Cross Street Fighter and the majority of the DLC, all the hidden characters. I thought it was fun. It had its moments, but it's like oil and water. Tekken and Street Fighter don't mix, because the playstyles for the Tekken characters were totally altered to fit with the Street Fighter mechanics. I mean, like, being able to play as Harang, who's one of my favorite Tekken characters, yes, I know, makes me sound like a noob, but I've got a soft spot for the art of Taekwondo. But playing as Harang in Street Fighter Cross Tekken is completely unrecognizable from playing as him in a Tekken game. It feels like a completely different game. So anyway, the General has to go now, like Simon Birch. And of course, Zan's very upset. They were old war buddies after all. So, the rest of the stage continues as normal. Face off against the same boss. Damn Jet and his lackeys. But I think it bodes well. I did a lot better than in my last playthrough of the game. Yes, this is a completely different playthrough. I started all the way from the beginning, just so that I could get into my groove. It's been a month since I played this game last. This was my first LP, so I think it fitting to do it justice in some small way. Actually, I don't think I've beaten this route of the game in the Japanese version. I've only ever done it in the English version, the Western version. And the final boss in this route of the game in the Western version took me forever. Not gonna tell you who it is. Don't want to spoil it yet. And just as we saw before, fires opened. Adam appears just in the nick of time. Got carried away. That still makes me laugh. Oh, wow. First laughing fit on my channel. Yes, folks, that's the occasion. Adam's randomness. But I don't know if that game ever will come out. It was supposed to come out for the PS3, but no. Oh, in this version, the base hasn't been found yet. They're still in the search. Guess they were more concerned with locating the General, but they ran out of time. Now, to tell you how ridiculous the Western version of the plot is, the General was replaced with the Chief of Police, who, in the real version of the story, as far as I can tell, is in league with the Syndicate. He's corrupt, and he eventually gets exposed and sentenced to life in prison. But this area, instead of the White House, is supposed to be City Hall, even though this area still looks exactly like the White House. And not knowing anything about that discrepancy the first time I played through this game, I couldn't help but wonder what... This doesn't look anything like any city hall I've ever seen or been to. I have been to DC once. I didn't get actually go inside the White House, but I did get to see the exterior. I think they were closed to tourists the day I went. I don't remember why. I do know it was when Clinton was in office. I was probably about 12 or 13. I do remember I got to take the metro for the first time ever. I thought that was really cool. My first exposure to a metro in real life or in fiction would be in Final Fight. I had a fairly sheltered life growing up in a small town. But I think it's nice to see new things. Makes me wish I could afford to travel more. Not just throughout the States, but all over the world. I've been as far west as Texas, and as far east as Europe. I've been to Russia. I've been to Finland. I've been to Norway. I've been to England. I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to New York. Been to DC. Been to New Orleans. Pre-Katrina. I didn't get to go to Bourbon Street, though. That's one of my greatest regrets, but I wasn't old enough then. I hear tell my dad enjoyed it very much. My parents wandered into a strip club. Don't know if it was intentional or not. I never asked them. Mom wanted to leave, and Dad was having the time of his life. Oh, man. My dad was such a character. He was so goofy when he wanted to be, and yet he was probably the wisest and bravest man I've ever known. And I like to tell people that I learned everything I know about women from my dad. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing depends on who you ask. I don't know if this is true or not, but he told me once when he was in college, his first day in a French class, he showed up late. And so the professor, an attractive young woman, decided to make an example out of him. And so she spoke to him in French. And he told me at the time the only words he knew were yes and no, oui and non. And so he took the 50-50 chance and said oui. And the professor goes, "Oh, monsieur!" And everybody starts laughing. And he turns to the guy next to him and asks him, "What did I just say? What did I just answer to?" And he says, "She asked if you had the keys to her apartment." And he told me that eventually he did get them. I'm not entirely sure if he was joking or not. Oh, man. That, and he had great taste in cars. Growing up, he had a silver Infiniti Q45. And whenever my mom had to go away for a trip with her friends or whatever, and it was just me and him, we'd go cruising around in it before we went out to dinner somewhere, like at the tavern down the street from our house or whatever. And he'd be like, "Watch this. 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It was awesome." Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we're breaking into the press conference now. I forgot about this part. We can hear the cameras clicking in the background. The general's up on stage, or at least someone posing as the general. But of course, Axel's having none of it, seeing as how he's just seen the real general die. I don't know, you'd think Zan would be more fitting to speak those lines. "Escort them out of here at once." Oh my god! It's not even a robot, it's a hologram. Yes, folks, Shiva is the final boss. A rematch from the first level. And he is much tougher this time around. Now, why his robe as a playable character is blue, but when you're fighting him, he only appears in a dark green robe. Which, well, I was gonna say that I like that one better, like appearance-wise, but thinking about it now, I'm not entirely sure. I like them both. Like, if I had the choice between the two, it would be a tough decision. But, oh, I did notice that it affects the outline of his hair. And when he's in a blue robe, his hair has a blue outline, but now it has a green outline. And the fight is being captured on live TV in front of the cheering crowds, in front of the press room of the White House. Only thing we can't see is the emblem that always appears on the curtains, and the curtains are supposed to be blue. But other than that, it looks nearly identical. I guess they had to change the story for the Western release. The legal ramifications of having the White House appear in a video game. Well, heck, they had to change Mike Bison's name to Balrog. Who knows? I do my research about gaming-related topics sometimes, but I haven't been very thorough about this one. And yet, they've only ever faced the robot version of X. They have no idea where the real X is hiding. Now, as to why he couldn't have had a profile picture in the player select screen. They've got one. Why didn't they? Oh, Zan's vowing revenge for his friend's death. And yet, the story's left unresolved. And X is observing in his rage. That would make a great ending. X is so mad he tries for revenge, just like in the last game, only this time it's much more violent. Like he declares war or something. Wow. But anyway, this is only one possible outcome. So I'm going to cut directly to the next one. Be right back. Okay, we're back. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the timer. He's practically dead, but I was just warding him off to keep myself alive, but I've got 9 lives. Probably more than that. So, if you're going for this ending, all you need to do is just avoid him. Don't even damage him. He's even weaker than he looks. Now, if you're gonna go all the way up to the highest difficulty level, oh, I think I'm gonna lose a star here. How unfortunate. Then he is 10 times harder than this. Even in the Japanese release. I couldn't make the evade. But it's okay, because as soon as the timer runs out, you'll be dead within 1 stroke. There's no way you can beat me. Even if you do declare a war. You are destined to fail. Brain. Brain in a jar. I wonder what it was that X lost his head over. There's nothing left of him but his lame brain. Man. I've had Dexter's Lab on the brain recently. I don't know why. 2, 1. Ooh. That's ominous. And the display disappears. All I can see is the vat. And what an ending. And yet, the robot still flies around spastically and crashes into the vial. But unlike last time, X gets the last laugh after all. Damn it! How are you gonna stop a war in a matter of minutes? Boop, boop, boop. You're going down with me.
If I go down, I'm taking you with me.
Anybody notice in that one particular clip, it sounds like Andros has two voices, even more so than normally. They're slightly more out of sync than they normally are. Ah, we're running out of time. The phony general. Oh, you mean Shiva. They took Shiva into custody. Same explosion as before. What happens now? Oh my god. Thanks to the efforts of Axel and the others, a full-scale war was averted. However, the devastation caused by the Rakashin left terrible scars in its wake. That's it, huh? And yet, we still get the good ending. It doesn't seem as bad compared to the Western version. It's like they've failed everything. No one will trust them anymore. But now it's more like, it was a terrible disaster, but it's better than a full-scale war. Which I guess is true. It still makes more sense than the Western version, though. No point in being angsty. True art is angsty. That's Matt Drury's philosophy. The writer of the Streets of Rage saga. I reiterate, if you haven't read it yet and you're a fan of the Streets of Rage series, look it up. It's on Streets of Rage Online. It's a whole exciting new take on the entire franchise. And a couple of the books in the saga reference even a couple of fan games. I think Bare Knuckle 4 was one, and Rise of the Syndicate was the other. And they all fit together, for better or worse. But anyway, we're just repeating more of what we've seen last time. So I think I'm gonna stop it here. This has been my Let's Play of Bare Knuckle 3. It took way too long to get this out, but I finally got it done, in spite of technical difficulties in editing. Don't know what I may be doing after Christmas yet. Anybody has any good suggestions? Shoot me a message, send me a comment. I'm on Twitter, Devilish21885. I answer everything. This has been your host, Devilish, reminding you, keep it awesome. Bye-bye.